have more money than that.
All right, 1 second. Okay.
Power our town. Be right down to energy.
All right, let's call the City of Highwoods regular city council meeting for Tuesday, March 7th, 2017 to order. How am I doing, Candy? Got my words down after a couple years. It's 7:35. Roll call, please.
Alderman Grice.
People farted in this here.
Fallberg.
Wow.
Alberg, you here? Stay here.
I'm here. Yes, you are.
Fetterman.
Here.
Fiore. Peterson.
Here.
Slavin.
Here.
Great. All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, in pre-session, we were able to review the minutes. There were no questions, so if I can get a motion to approve 3.1, the city council minutes for February 21st, 2017, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 3.2 is the committee of the whole for February 21st, 2017. Motion on that, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have no appointments. We are still looking for someone for the Board of Police and Fire. If anyone in the crowd would like to volunteer at this time, this would be a great short application and 1 week of hard work and then not too much.
All the rest fun.
We have the warrant list for March 7th, 2017. We'll start with 5.1, warrant list A.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Fallberg.
Yes.
Fetterman.
Yes.
Fiore.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Slavin.
Aye.
5.2, that's the warrant list B for March 7th, 2017. Motion for that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Alderman Slavin.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Fiore.
Aye.
Fetterman.
Yes.
Fallberg.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is public input. Items not on the agenda. I believe we have Mr. Brunk here this evening who would like to address the city council.
It's true.
Alexander, he's going to tell us right now. B-R-U-N-K.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Alexander Brunk. I live in Highland Park in the southwest Highland Park neighborhood by Red Oak School. I'm a candidate for the District 112 School Board in the election coming up in April. I just wanted to come up here and take the opportunity to introduce myself. I don't have any really prepared remarks, so I'm just going to try and be informal. You know, a little bit about me. I got involved with the school issues in Highland Park. My kids are very young. I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so they're not even in school yet. But I got involved because the school system was looking to build a middle school campus on the west side of town in my neighborhood, as you all know, last year. Initially, my involvement was in opposition to that. After the referendum failed, I was appointed to the Reconfiguration 2.0 committee that's been working since last summer to try and identify different solutions for the school district. My feeling from the research I've done in that committee, looking at the district's educational programs and finances, is that we absolutely do need to consolidate schools to some extent in 112. You know, we've got right now some schools with 14 kids in a class, 13 kids in a class. Other schools like Oak Terrace here with 23, 24 kids in a class. That's got to change. You know, we've got kids are spread too thin. We've got too many people on payroll relative to the number of students we have, and that, to me, has to be addressed in the next few years. That said, you know, I'm concerned with the way the current board's approached it. It's really been an all or nothing kind of thing. You know, there was either to go do the big project or BDR3, which ultimately generated so much community opposition they had to shelve it. So my feeling is that we do need to have some level of consolidation. We need to close some buildings in the next few years, redraw boundaries, make the district really more equitable for kids in all parts of it. And we need to really focus on, again, the strength of the educational programming and that equitable experience for kids in Highland Park and in Highwood and all parts of this community. So appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come here and speak. I'd love to speak to people individually after the meeting's over and let you know more about me and introduce, you know, what the issues I care about are, and thanks very much for giving me the opportunity.
You want to take a couple questions if we have them?
Sure, absolutely.
Andy, you have anything?
I don't have any. Thank you for coming.
Eric?
No, yeah, that's just like we had 3 other gentlemen that came here the last meeting, and we do appreciate you coming up here because that's been a concern that Highwood isn't thought about when they're concerned, and that wasn't thought about last time when the last thing they did.
No, right.
Actually, we weren't part of anything. So we do appreciate you coming up here and considering Highwood on all fronts.
Well, these guys like playing softball, however, no, I'm just teasing. So tell me a little bit about your, how you feel in the dual language program. Have you considered more of an academy or magnet school in this area? What's your feelings on
Sure.
that?
So I love the dual language program. It's fantastic. You know, I've done a lot of research on it. You know, from a educational standpoint, I mean, the data is very, very strong that it's absolutely the best way to educate children who are coming in and learning English. That said, the way the district has it organized right now doesn't make a lot of sense. In Sherwood and Red Oak, in Southwest by where I live, you have individual sections of dual language students that are together in those schools. So you have the same 18, 19 kids that are in a class together from kindergarten to 5th grade. That's not a great thing for the kids. It's not great for the teachers. So my feeling is that, you know, with right now we've got somewhere around 150 kids in each grade level in the younger grades in the dual language program. That should really be consolidated to 2 schools, to 2 academies or magnets, whatever we want to call them. Oak Terrace, obviously, and the other one should be Red Oak. In my neighborhood. That's an easy thing to do to some extent. Oak Terrace is almost all entirely dual language now. Red Oak and Sherwood are right next to each other. So by making Red Oak a dual language academy, that neighborhood doesn't lose a neighborhood school. You know, the Sherwood has a lot of space that can totally absorb the rest of that neighborhood for the monolingual program. And I think that change alone saves the district a tremendous amount of money because it's going to allow us to have fewer teachers at each grade level once those 2 schools consolidate those classes. It's also going to create a much better educational experience for the kids in dual language there because you're not going to have, again, those same 18 kids that you're with all the way through 5th grade. You're going to be able to mix with more kids and have that larger student cohort. So I absolutely believe in that change, and I spoke on behalf of the school board implementing it for next fall, even after BDR3 was shelved, and I was disappointed that they did not do so. If I am elected to the board, I will absolutely push for that change to be made the following year.
Thank you.
So, in case I misunderstood, just so I understand, you were a proponent of fewer teachers, more kids per class? Is that correct, from a cost-saving standpoint?
So
Or did I
right now,
misunderstand
Sherwood
that?
and Red Oak, you have, like in 2nd grade there, in the monolingual program, you have 14 kids. You have 2 classes of 14 kids at Sherwood. In the monolingual, you have 2 classes of 15 kids at Red Oak. So if those 2 schools, monolingual programs merged, you'd have 19 or so kids in 3 classes across, and so you'd have 3 classes of 2nd graders instead of 4 classes of 2nd graders. And that situation throughout the whole district in 112 is really what the problem is right now, is that there's too many schools, the students are spread too thin, and as a result, some of the classes are really, really small, and that's causing us to carry a larger payroll than we really need to be.
And I think your point of the same kids K through 5 is not beneficial either.
No,
I
absolutely
mean, you
not.
have the same 15, 16 kids, that's, doesn't do much for them.
And so, I mean, that's,
Isolates them.
it
does.
absolutely.
It's
Well,
wrong for,
that's
it's wrong
how
for
it
the
was-
kids.
That's how it was in Oak Terrace when we had started.
Yeah, when you started it was.
Yep.
Now it's blossomed.
And I've here, you know, with Wayne Thomas relatively close, you know, it seems like
Yeah.
from everything that people have told me in Highwood, that the Magnet Academy concept works up here very much as well.
It does. It says if you don't want to take the dual language, now you have an opportunity to go to a monolingual school.
Well, the problem that you always seem to run into is the how they grade the schools as
Right.
well. And that caused the main issue with Oak Terrace.
Property
Because,
values and things
yeah,
like that.
if you look at the grading of the school, it hurts the property values of the surrounding community, which is unfair that we have that situation in Oak Terrace.
But if you took a step back and actually looked at why there was a problem, it became clear as day why it's a benefit, not a hindrance, but.
And if you look at other districts that have dual language programs, like the Hawthorne School District out in Vernon Hills, they have a dual language magnet school like that, and that's.
And that if it's read that way,
Right.
the school is seen as a different
Right.
system.
The way we have it set up here really was more a reflective of the fact that they, again, our school configuration hasn't changed in a long time, so they kind of put dual language classes where they had space for them in the buildings as the program grew. And, you know, now that we're at the point where we're talking about a reconfiguration, which needs to happen anyway, this is a real opportunity to streamline that program and to make it set it up better.
Good. Mike, any questions? Matt, got yours?
How's the reconfiguration 2.0 committee meetings going?
Uh,
And I guess the second part is, when do we anticipate the recommendations coming out of those committees to surface?
Sure. In terms of the 2.0 committee's work, you know, it's ongoing. Right now, we're very focused on the communication side of it. We spent last fall doing a lot of research in terms of the educational programs, the finances, and facilities. So we had a couple focus groups in the last few weeks. We're working on a survey that's going to go out to the whole community. I have a background in market research, so I took the lead on that, working with an outside market research firm. And we are going to be it's going to be a survey. They're going to be mail invitations out to a random sample of people that people are going to have the opportunity to take that, which will hopefully give us a sense of a couple things. First off, what are the priorities of people when they're thinking about reconfiguration? How much money are people willing to spend on a bond issue? Because that was one thing we learned about the one that they tried before, was that $198 million is just too much money. And we're going to have to come up with something smaller than that, and we have to kind of figure out what that number is. It's going to get us most of the facilities upgrades that we need without pushing people too far to the point where we're going to lose the vote. So that's we're also going to have some community engagement meetings coming up in later in March. The hope is that all of this will get resolved probably by June, and by early midsummer at the latest. For the new board that gets seated in May, to take the recommendation of the committee and then have it, do the research, do the due diligence on it, and have it ready for a referendum for the following March. All that kind of has to happen. They have to know what that plan is going to be pretty much by August. So depending on what the recommendation of the committee is, it might be one single plan, it might be a couple different options, and then the board has to kind of make that decision. But hopefully all that work will be wrapped up by the summer.
And that's the target, the consolidated election next year for the
The
referendum?
target is next year, yes.
Yeah.
Right now. Again, I'm one of only 25 people on the 2.0 committee.
Right.
If I'm elected to the board, I'll be one of 7. I'll have a little more say on this.
Right.
But we're all very hopeful that we'll be able to get this resolved soon.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on down the agenda, we have mayor's report, nothing this evening. Any committee reports?
Nope.
Okay, treasurer's,
Well, he was leaving.
I know.
You want to take one?
You're good? Although you do have signs coming up from the long-term planning. Treasurer's report, nothing this evening. Clerk's report, nothing yet. Unfinished business, we'll move to new business, 12.1. This evening, we have a consideration of an ordinance modifying the number and the initial and renewal fees for Class L liquor license. If I get a motion to approve the Class L liquor license, please.
Make the motion to waive first reading and approve the ordinance as drafted?
Second.
So this, Scott, if you would, this is for a particular license, Class L license. This is for manufacturing of alcohol, is that correct?
Correct. This is anticipated for breweries and wineries in the city of Highwood, and it just modifies the initial and renewal fees to be more consistent with other similar types of operations.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Peterson,
Aye.
Fiore,
Aye.
Betterman,
Aye.
Wahlberg,
Yes.
Slavin.
Aye. Feels weird.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right, does it?
Yeah.
You look like a pirate when you say that.
Aye, I think that felt weird. No, it's not from.
Just rolls off of my tongue.
If you're comfortable with it, roll with it. Consideration of a resolution waiving competitive bidding and directing the city manager to enter into a contract with Pave Tech to repair 4 alleyways between North and Llewellyn and Birchall, Sheridan and Washington, and Lockard Lane, connecting to Washington, in the amount not to exceed $160,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
There was one modification that we wanted to make on this, if we could do the contracts per the attorney's approval.
I'll make that motion to do the contract per the attorney's approval.
I'll amend, second.
Thank you very much. Roll call on this one, please.
He's getting good, isn't
Alderman Fahlberg,
he? Yes.
Betterman,
Yes.
Fiore,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Slavin.
Glasses.
Aye. And Fetterman,
Actually, read what I'm
it's one of
saying.
those things, it's kind of like an acquired taste if you stick with it long enough.
It's like gin.
Yeah.
Or you can go the other way and realize how
Yeah.
stupid you sound.
12.3, consideration of a motion to accept a bid from Peter Baker for the 2017 Street Improvement Program and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. Do you want to put a lawyer in this one as well? Per lawyer approval on 12.3.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Alderman Slavin,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Fiore,
Aye.
Fetterman,
Yes.
Wahlberg.
Yes.
So how much are we spending on streets this year roughly?
We will likely approach $350,000 to $400,000 on
Any,
streets.
are we grants from the state of Illinois?
Aren't we still owed 300 something
The state of
thousand?
Illinois.
Illinois?
The state of Illinois has told us that the $270,000 in grants that we received for our 2015 capital improvement plan is most likely not coming.
Unless Chance the Rapper or someone else.
Can we sue them for that?
You can't sue the
Definitely,
state.
because we did a project based on that grant.
Yeah, you're never gonna
And
win
we'll be
that.
in court till,
That's okay.
Court of Claims.
That's okay. You gotta do it.
Someone's got to
They're
stick up.
very
for us.
Someone's got
Our-
Can we publicly
our
shame,
grandkids.
can we publicly shame the city?
The
I
state,
would-
the state
no,
says
the
you
shit-
can't,
the-
because you can't shame them any more than they've.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just
state
saying,
of
we can- the
Illinois
water's warm, we can just jump right in.
That's fine.
I think something
Okay with
needs
that?
to be said about that. It needs to be put out in the public. The
I guess
fact
my
that
point
we
was
built
not
the
about the-
projects based on it. We're covering the cost because the state can't.
Right.
And
And
then
we're paying,
we
we're
built
paying
the
an extra
project.
30% more.
Failure to provide the money that they.
Their job.
All right,
It's a
so
failure in general.
the point was, we're not going out for bond. A lot has to do with our
For that, we
closing
don't wanna have
of the
prevailing
fire
wages.
department. We're able to
That'd be nice.
do 350,000 to
A lot
streets.
of infrastructure.
A lot of infrastructure is moving on. 12.4, consideration of a motion authorizing the city manager to accept a quote from Lindholm Roofing to repair the roof at City Hall in an amount not to exceed $20,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Fetterman,
Yes.
Fiore, Peterson,
Aye.
Wahlberg,
Yes.
Slavin.
Aye.
And the doctor.
12.5,
Let's do it.
this is a consideration of a resolution authorizing an agreement with Dynegy Energy Services. Is that who we're going with?
Yes.
Right? LLC as an electric supplier for the City of Highwood Electric Aggregation
It's
Program.
better.
Okay, and this is going to be for, well, let's get a motion and a second on this one, please. I get a motion?
So
to-
moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Motion second. And this is going to be for 18 months is what we're looking at for a contract with them?
No cost opt-out.
No cost to opt out, so if you don't like it, and you go someone's cheaper, you can do that individually. 12.5, roll call, please. No, I guess you can do all in favor, but,
Yeah, just a roll.
roll call.
Alderman Slavin,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Fiore,
Aye.
Fetterman,
Yes.
Wahlberg.
Yes.
All right, that concludes new business. However, this evening, we do have, for number 13, we do have a reason to go into executive session. That'll be pursuant to,
Sections 2C5 and 2C6 to discuss the purchase and sale of real estate.
2C5 and 2C6.
Not yet. We-
If I get a motion to go into executive session, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call.
Alderman Wahlberg,
Yes.
Fetterman,
Yes.
Fiore,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Slavin.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it is